anonymize complaints and then pass it on to
Right.
the quality department. And so all this will be done. The patient advocacy support committee will be set up to increase the confidence of patients in reporting. And I just want to make a final appeal to our staff and our patients to please report incidents and complaints. And we cannot fix without critics.
All right. Thank you very much. I think, Dr. Blind, is one other area that you may have inadvertently left out, which is the admitting privileges regulations, which will go before Parliament sometime next year. Those privileges would allow doctors in the private sector to have access to our theaters here at the hospital for a fee. So that this is really going to be a major development here at the hospital to reorganize the way our theaters are used, to bring a measure of equity and fairness in terms of access to and use of the theaters. And I know it is attending our board at this point in time, and we should hear a lot more about it in the new year. The admitting privileges regulations that will provide access to the use of the theaters by doctors on staff as well as those in the private sector. So thank you, colleagues, very much. You have been very insightful. I commend you for your effort. And there's a Calypsonian that says, the journey now starts. So we have a lot of work to do next year, in particular to address the patient care experience. And so you've given these commitments to the country, and we'll hold you accountable for those commitments. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, our year in review in a nutshell, and the key features of our work program to better serve you in 2022. We may not always get it right, but as your Chief Executive Officer, all 600 members of staff on my executive management team, their managers, supervisors, and frontline staff will work to make a difference in the lives of the patients who present to the hospital for care. I encourage the public to be part of something new. This is your hospital, and you must always have a say in the way services are delivered to you. I thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our achievements and commitments for next year. At this juncture, I now invite my colleague, Ms. Nicole Laville, Director of Engineering Services, to manage the second segment of this evening's event, the long-awaited Long Services Awards ceremony. We'll take a short break of 5 minutes to just rearrange the decor, and then we'll move right into the Long Services Awards ceremony. Thank you very much.
of Health. Did everybody enjoy the first part of the segment? Good. All right. Honorable Kent Edwards, Acting Minister of Health, Wellness, and New Health Investment. Dr. Dexter James, our esteemed CEO of the Dominica Hospitals Authority. Mrs. Jennifer Astafan, Chairperson of the Dominica Hospitals Authority. His Excellency Eliud Williams, Deputy Chairperson, Dominica Hospitals Authority. Other members of the Board of the Dominica Hospitals Authority present with us this evening. Mrs. Letitia Lestrade-Wyke, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and New Health Investment. The senior management of the Dominica China Friendship Hospital, senior nurses and staff, persons listening on social media, members of the media, and the highlight of the second half of our proceedings, our awardees. Other invited guests, good evening. So it gives me great honor to read the citations of 20 esteemed public servants, persons who have served in the healthcare sector and who have served at the hospital and who have taken their retirement over the past year. So we recognize them now, and I want to invite Mrs. Joanne Bellot, the director of the board, and the deputy chairperson of our board, His Excellency, Mr. Eliud Williams, to come forward so they can hand over tokens of appreciation to our awardees this evening. Right here. Yes, over here is fine, yes, okay. Okay, so this evening we will be giving out awardees a trophy, a plaque, and they'll also be presented with a certificate. So His Excellency will be giving out the plaques, and Mrs. Bellot will be giving out the certificates. All right, so now I'll introduce our first awardee, Mr. Clayton Bryan. Mr. Clayton Bryan began work as a pharmacist in 1984, subsequent to receiving a certificate in pharmacy from Barbados Community College. In 1998, Mr. Bryan received a Bachelor of Pharmacy degree from the University of Technology in Jamaica, and later received a Master of Science degree in Pharmaceutical Services and Medicines Control from the University of Bradford, followed by a Master of Art degree in Hospital Management at the University of Leeds in 2011. He was appointed Senior Pharmacist in 1999 and served in that capacity until 2009, when he became the first Quality Manager at the Princess Margaret Hospital. In 2014, he began his journey as the Hospital Services Coordinator and served in that capacity until his retirement. Mr. Bryan is remembered as a team player who executed his functions passionately and effectively. He was courteous and demonstrated patience and kindness in the execution of his duties to everyone whom he came into contact with. He is being recognized today for his invaluable contribution to the institution during the years that he has served. Mr. Clayton Bryan, we thank you for your contribution and pray that God will continue to bless and strengthen you during the years ahead. Mr. Clayton Bryan, please come to receive your and you receive a plaque from. Go ahead. So we're given two awards, a certificate and a plaque, okay? All right, let's give Mr. Bryan a round of applause. Former Hospital Services Coordinator. Certificates and tokens. Okay, yes. Thank you, His Excellency. I want to invite the Honorable Minister to continue to present the awards to the retirees. Our next awardee is Dr. Cherisetta Joseph. Dr. Joseph started employment at the PMH in 1995 after completing medical studies at the People's Friendship University of Moscow in Russia. While Dr. Joseph worked in different departments, he is best known for the extended period of time that he spent working in the Department of Pediatrics. In this area, he gained significant experience and exposure and became an invaluable member of staff in that department. Dr. Joe, as he was commonly called, was a dedicated and hard worker, providing quality care to his patients. The Dominica China Friendship Hospital is grateful to Dr. Joseph for his long years of service, and we wish him well in his retirement. Dr. Joseph. Dr. Joe. Thank you, Dr. Joseph. We have next nurse. One second. We have Nurse Annetta Wilkins. Nurse Annetta Wilkins was enrolled as a nursing assistant at the hospital in 1987. She then pursued the registered nursing program and graduated in 2010. Nurse Wilkins completed 34 years of service. Throughout her career, she received training and gained a wide range of knowledge in her field of work at various wards, including the medical and surgical wards. Her performance of various tasks assigned to her were done with commitment, which she displayed over the years, especially at the operating theater. We are gathered here to show our heartfelt appreciation to Nurse Annetta Wilkins as she leaves the service. We wish her well on her retirement, and we thank her for her service. Nurse Wilkins. Next, we have Nurse Mariana John Baptist. She began her nursing career on the 16th of March, 1987, as a nursing assistant student. She graduated in 1989 and was assigned to Daubeny Ward until 1991. She returned to nursing school to pursue the registered nursing program in 1991 and successfully completed this program as valedictorian of the graduating class of 1994. She has vast experience working in the surgical wards and worked on Alford Ward from 2003 to 2006. In 2006, she left the Princess Margaret Hospital to take up employment at the Justin Fadipe Medical Center, where she worked for 7 years there. Her nursing experience there included patient management, gastroscopy, operating theater, diabetic food care, sterilization, administrative management, and effective functioning of the center. She returned to Princess Margaret in 2014, where she worked at the HIV clinic, the isolation unit, and infection control department. She has also acted as ward sister on the Glover ward and has also acted as facilities manager on 3 different occasions. Nurse John Baptist, we thank you for your years of exemplary contribution to nursing and healthcare, and we wish you the best in your retirement. Thank you. All right, the next awardee, Mrs. Mary Gage Carbon, is not here with us this afternoon, but I will still read her citation. Mrs. Carbon, well known as Nurse Gage, enrolled in the Nursing Assistant Program on August 1st, 1996. In 2011, she was recognized by the Ministry of Health for her exemplary work, attitude, and dedication. She was assigned to the Dominica Infirmary in 2018 for 1 year, and she spent her last 6 months of her nursing career at the pediatric unit. The staff all concur that there was never a dull moment with Nurse Gage. So Nurse Gage, she's not with us this afternoon, but we wish her well, and we know she will receive her plaque and certificate sometime later. Our next awardee is Mrs. Hildreth Agnes Walsh Davis. Nurse Walsh, as she is known, began her career as a public servant in the Ministry of Health in 1991 as a vector control operator. She remained in that post until 1994, when she left to pursue studies to become a nursing assistant from November 1994 to April 1996. Nurse Walsh was awarded the most outstanding level 2 nurse at the graduation ceremony. From 1996 to 2001, she worked at the Princess Margaret Hospital, mainly on the neonatal unit, Winston and Alford wards. Mrs. Walsh Davis expressed a love for bedside nursing and upward mobility, hence her pursuit of studies to become a registered nurse, which she completed in 2004. She was then rotated to the male surgical ward, the acute psychiatric unit, where she worked as the position of acting ward sister for 2 consecutive terms. In that year, she was also awarded the Public Service Award for Outstanding Attendance. Mrs. Walsh Davis continues to offer her services on various wards at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital by working sessions. She will be remembered for her boundless energy and attention to details. We are grateful for the role that she played as a team member and the service she offered over the past 32 years. May the blessings of good health, the joy of good friends, and a loving family, and the contentment of a job well done fill your life with happiness. Mrs. Walsh Davis. Mrs. Ann Joseph is our next awardee. She is not with us this afternoon, Mrs. Ann Joseph, she worked as the laundry supervisor at the Princess Margaret Hospital, and she also retired during the course of this year. Oh, Mrs. Ann Joseph is here. No? Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry. Mrs. Fabian will receive the award on her behalf. So Mrs. Joseph, she worked as a laundry supervisor at the Princess Margaret Hospital from 2010. Because of her level of enthusiasm, work ethics, and leadership, she was appointed to the function of laundry supervisor. She was an exceptional officer who was very passionate in the execution of her duties. She would constantly encourage her staff in adhering to protocols to improve the quality of service delivery. Anne had a very good working relationship with her colleagues. Many times, you would not know the difference between supervisor and worker because she would get involved, get her hands dirty when the occasion called for it. In her own words, she would say, "We have to do what we have to do." We thank Anne for her contribution and pray that God will continue to bless and strengthen her during the years ahead. Mrs. Fabian will accept the awards on behalf of Anne. Our next awardee is Mrs. Cyrilla Celestine. Mrs. Celestine, not there? Oh, I'm sorry. Mrs. Celestine is not with us this afternoon, so I'll just read her citation. Mrs. Celestine came in as a substitute ward aide in 1998 and was appointed to the post of ward aide in March 1st, 2001. Mrs. Celestine had a helpful nature. Her greatest strength was helping new ward aides who were sent to her department. She ensured that they were well-oriented and continually reinforced what was taught. She was often called matron because she is constantly looking over what her colleagues were doing. Mrs. Celestine, your good work will never be forgotten. Best wishes. So Mrs. Celestine will ensure that she gets her award sometime later. Our next awardee is Mrs. Veronica Roberts. Mrs. Roberts commenced employment at the hospital in the post of ward aide in 2005. She worked in several departments and several wards. Mrs. Roberts, or Robbie, as she's affectionately known, was a very cooperative, honest, jovial, and hardworking individual. She was a committed employee who took pleasure in performing her tasks. She was attached to the dialysis unit from July 2017 to March 2021. During her tenure there, she proved herself to be a team player, and she encouraged those she worked with to perform at a very high standard. She's a very spiritual person, and this was evident in the way she would pray with patients individually and also for the entire unit before commencing her assigned shift. We wish her a blessed retirement and all the best in her future endeavors. God bless you, Robbie. Thank you. Mrs. Veronica Roberts. Now we have Mrs. Yolanda Dubuisson Christian. Is there? Oh, I'm sorry, she's not here, so I will read some of her journey at the Princess Margaret Hospital. She began in 1996 with a 6-week training program. Upon completion of this program, she was assigned to the acute psychiatric unit, followed by Daubeny and Stronach wards as substitute ward aide. Mrs. Christian completed 35 years of service before her retirement this year. She is remembered for her independence in carrying out her responsibilities, teaching her peers, her vivaciousness combined with a daring disposition. So we express our deepest gratitude for her services, and we hope that she enjoys her retirement. So Mrs. Christian will receive her award sometime later. At this time, I want to invite Dr. Peters to assist us to give out some certificates. Mrs. Bellotkan. Sorry, you still have to stay. Okay, so now we want to recognize the domestic workers who have retired during the course of this year. The following officers served at the Princess Margaret Hospital in the capacity of domestic workers. During their tenure, they served in various departments: housekeeping, laundry, dietary, and so on. These officers were responsible for the cleaning of the facility, food preparation, and laundering. They all served with dedication and commitment. These officers have retired from the public service for the periods 2020 and 2021, and they are being recognized this evening for their contribution to the institution during the years that they served. I will now call their names. We have Miss Editha Ferguson, who served for 9 years. Miss Ferguson? Oh, she's not there. All right. Miss Eugenia Ormond served for 24 years. Eugenia Ormond. Miss Marina Edwards served for 23 years. Miss Violin Sandy, who served for 12 years. Miss Sandy is here. Mrs. Carol Jerome, who served for 20 years. Mrs. Jerome, come, don't be shy. She needs some. Miss Marcella St. Luce, who served for 19 years, and Miss Olivia Hector, who served for 23 years. Miss Hector is coming in. We thank all of our domestic workers for the valuable contributions and pray that God will continue to bless and strengthen them during the years ahead. We extend our deepest appreciation for your services and ask that you receive these awards as a token of our appreciation. Let's give a round of applause to all of our domestic workers. Our next awardee is Mr. Eddie Frazier, who served at the Princess Margaret Hospital's maintenance department in the capacity of handyman for 39 years. Mr. Frazier was a gifted painter. He took pride in what he did. He was called upon many times to repair faulty beds and trolleys, a task that he undertook without hesitation. He served with dedication and retired from the public service this year. He's been recognized today for his contribution to the institution during the years that he served. We thank you for the valuable contributions and pray that God will continue to bless and strengthen you during the years ahead. Mr. Eddie Frazier. We have next Mr. Carbon Francis, who served at the Princess Margaret Hospital in the capacity of psychiatric assistant and served for 31 years. He worked very closely with the staffing body in ensuring that both staff and patients functioned in a safe environment. He took pride in caring for the patients, especially with their baths and haircuts. He served with dedication, passion, and enthusiasm. Mr. Francis is also a gifted musician and used every opportunity to entertain the patients at the psychiatric unit. He was a major highlight at the ward's annual concert. He's been recognized today for his contribution to the institution during the years that he served. We thank you, Mr. Francis, for your valuable contributions and pray that God will continue to bless you during the years ahead. Mr. Carbon Francis. All right, we want to thank Dr. Peters, Mrs. Bellot, our Honorable Minister, and His Excellency for giving out the plaques and certificates this evening. We have two other awardees, Mrs. Ramona Dublin Buckmeyer, who worked at the laboratory, and also Mr. Philipson Simeon, who worked as an orderly. These two persons retired this year as well, and they will receive their awards at some time later, but I just wanted to mention their names as they served for many years on the hospital staff. And I want to thank everyone for coming, our guests. And I want to now invite our head medical director, Dr. Ruby Blah, to give the vote of thanks.
To the Honorable Acting Minister for Health, Mr. Kent Edwards, Dr. Dexter James, CEO of the Hospital Authority, Mrs. Jennifer Astafan, Chairperson, His Excellency, Deputy Chairperson, and other members of the board present with us, Matron, Director of Engineering and Facilities Manager, Senior Management, Senior nurses, other members of staff, awardees, invited guests, the media, and the public. James Allen said, "No duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks." And indeed, I have been tasked with the most pleasurable duty of saying thank you. I must begin by thanking the Almighty Father for seeing us safely through a rather challenging year. To the officials here, Honorable Kent Edwards and Mrs. White, who unfortunately had to leave, who graced us with your presence, we would like to extend our profound gratitude for making the time to be present at this function. To the board members, and here I would like to single out the chairperson, deputy chair, and chairman of the clinical committee for being there from the beginning of this change process, and to all the other board members for the hard work and commitment shown even in the short space of time. I must also single out and commend our CEO for the exemplary leadership that you've provided so far to this institution. To all members of the hospital management team and all members of staff at every level, You must be thanked and commended for continuing to show up and performing every day, even under the most trying of circumstances. Thank you so very much for your continued dedication and commitment to your duties. I'm extending special gratitude to all staff who assisted in today's ceremony, those who helped with the logistics, physical setup, data collection, preparation of the stats, to Sister for leading us in prayer, and all the other tasks, both big and small, that have all contributed to making today a success. Thank you, everyone. To the retirees, congratulations once again, and thanks. You've helped the institution progress over the years. To the media and all members of the public who've joined us via the various media houses and the social media platforms, thanks for the time spent with us this evening. As we are about to usher in a new year, I would like to challenge you in the words of Alex Morit, and I quote, "New year, a new chapter, a new verse, or is it just the same old story? Ultimately, we write it," end of quote. Best wishes for a happy and successful 2022. Thank you.